Today is October 28th, 2025. We are in Houston, Texas. I'm Jacob King. I'm here interviewing Miss Delores McGruder for CEER's Heroines Oral History Project. Before we begin, I must ask, are you okay with this interview being recorded and saved for the project archives?
Yes.
Awesome. So, I was wondering if you could begin by telling us about your early life growing up in Houston and your experiences with the environment.
Well, starting off with my life, I had a kind of life that most people has not lived. The reason why I say that because I was homeless at the age of 8 years old. I didn't have no family. I was from a divorce, two peoples, and so therefore they decided to let me be on my own. So that was one reason why I was homeless, behind the family breaking up. So as I was 8 years old, believe it or not, I still went to school. I went to school every day in the same dress, come rain and shine. I had those type of shoes that would flap. I know probably not too many people have had shoes like that flap in the front every time they walk. But those are the kind of shoes that I went to school in. And that's the type of dress I wore 5 days a week. And by being 8 years old, believe it or not, I could even plait my own hair. But I learned how to do that. And as I was going to school, I always sat at the front desk, looking directly in the teacher's face. For some reason, the teachers that were teaching me, they always had a beautiful smile. Regardless of their face, that smile always remained. And that's what drew me to teachers, because they were so kind. And, I would do great work when it come to schoolwork because I wanted to please my teacher. Looked like for some reason as I grew up in life, it looked like you always want to please somebody. And so I focused on pleasing my teachers. And as I grew up in the neighborhood, believe it or not, they say Fifth Ward is a village, and that's really is the truth, because believe it or not, I used to meet little girls in school that liked me, and they would invite me to their home. As I went and visited them at their home, unaware of their parents didn't know that I was a homeless little girl. So as I went over there, they give me a piece of chicken. Oh, that was something so great. And I do have to say that even at school, the cafeteria peoples would give me what they call a free lunch bag. During that time, it wasn't even free lunches in the 1950s, but I guess I was one of the first children in Houston got free lunch from a school. And so I went over there and I ate my piece of chicken, and I was so happy to be among a family. Most of the families I was around, they had 9 to 12 children in that one particular family. So I guess it was just naturally they just threw me right in with the children and treated me as one of their children. And so I was very happy. Now, I wasn't an average little girl, because for some reason I didn't want to go play. I didn't want to go play and play no children games, I was always wanting to help the mama. Now, she had all them children, but most of them ran on the porch or ran around the corner somewhere. And they all wasn't in the house with her. Looked like I was the only one. So if I had to wash the dishes, if I had to help her cook, if I had to clean up, if I had to babysit the one that's smaller than I were, I would do that. And I was very happy and content. They used to give me a sheet and a pillow, and I lay on the naked floor. But I was happy just to be somewhere among peoples, and somebody seemed like they cared about me. So as I went on, I lived like that. in the village, the Fifth Ward village, for many years until I got like 13 years old. Now, when I got 13 years old, believe it or not, here come my mama out of nowhere. I hadn't seen her for 5 years. And so she found out where I was. She came and picked me up. And then she took me to a place that she had rented. Well, I was overjoyed. I always have loved my mother. Nothing she could ever do could stop me from loving her. So I was happy and rejoicing that she had came and got me. And then it was a nice little apartment. But, you know, I did not know the way she was living. You have to stay with a person for a while to find that out. So she had a habit of moving into her apartment. She stayed 1 month and paid the rent. Second month, the landlord would come, and she wasn't nowhere to pay the rent. So he said, well, I'll be back next month. And so the next month, that's the third month, she would tell the landlord she's moving. And she kept doing this for a long time, didn't have the lights on. She didn't have the gas on. She didn't have no food in the refrigerator but water. But I still had a place to lay my head down. And I was with my mother. So all that didn't even affect me. I was just a happy kid being with the person that I loved. And I truly did love her. So that went on until I got 16. All of a sudden, came home one day. I'm thinking the same thing because the lights went on, the gas wasn't on. And I'm thinking the same thing that, yeah, I would see her again. But she never did come back. The people took the furniture and threw it out on the street and threw me right out with the furniture. So then here I am, 16 years old, back on the streets again. I never really wanted to let others know about the way I was living. So that was fine when I was 8 years old and younger. But as I got older, I became ashamed. So I said, I'm going to drop out of school. I'm not going back to school. I was a straight A student. Had always been a straight A student because that was my focus, was education. I just feel like if I got my education, then my whole life would change. But at that particular time, I had to put education on hold. And so I went and got me a job. And then was working. I was making, minimum wage, but that was better than I having nothing at all. And then I was able to pay the rent. And so that landlord never knew that she was gone and she wasn't paying the rent anymore. And I was just as happy as I could be. Remember, I used to catch the bus early in the morning. And I'm going to tell you the name of that cafeteria. It was called Foots Cafeteria. Reason why I say that, because it was a white man, and he was the manager. And when he first met me, he was just so kind. Looked like in his heart, he knew that I needed help. And he just hired me on the spot. So I was just as happy as I could be every morning going to Bel Air, Texas, because that's where the restaurant was located at. And I carried on being the bus girl. Bus girl means we picking the dishes off the table. But that was a fantastic job for me at that particular time. But like I say, it's always somebody that don't want to mind their business and want to mind others. And the ladies, I don't know why, maybe because the manager paid more attention to me or give me better breaks. But they told the manager, say, that girl ain't no 18. Look at her face. She maybe have a body of a woman, but her face, she younger than 18. So the manager came and he asked me, are you 18? I said, oh, yes, I'm sorry. I did lie. I said, yes. He said, well, the next time you come, bring that birth certificate. So you know what happened? I never did go back to that job. So I couldn't pay the rent. So therefore I had to be homeless on the street at 16. And I didn't want to go back, try to get a job, because that really did discourage me. So I went back to school. So I know in the daytime at school I was going to be warm. And then I only had to put up with the coldness of night when I was on the streets. I used to sleep under stairwells. I go find vacant homes to live in and stay in. I hide behind bushes. Because for some reason God told me, he said, don't let nobody see you. When you out on the street, you hide. Because I at 16 didn't know how many predators was in the world and how many people hate you. And so I did what I was told. I go stay on the back steps of somebody's house, or I go hide in the bushes or stand behind a tree. But guess what? Nobody ever seen me. So that way nobody ever bothered me, you know? So I was just so happy, you know, that I could escape and be left alone. I really didn't want to be bothered. My focus was trying to give me an education. So like I say, education and the teachers, they saved my life. They really did. The teachers started bringing me clothes to wear because I was old enough to let them know about my condition. Now, as far as, you know, anything else was going on in my life, no, I didn't have a boyfriend. Wasn't interested in men or boys. You know, I didn't have a family at the age of 16. You know, I wanted one, but I just didn't have one. And so, you know, that's the conclusion of my life as a young person and a child.
So, living through all that period of Houston and whatnot, and seeing the environment, I wanted to ask, like, what Houston area storm would you say had the most impact on you, and what was your reaction at the time?
Well, I can tell you, at the age of 13, they had Carla, Hurricane Carla. Well, Hurricane Carla, I didn't know anything about Hurricane Carla because they had shut the whole community down, the Fifth Ward community. At that particular time, you know, I was just wandering around on the streets after I get out of school, and you know, people really don't talk to, well, they didn't talk to me because I made sure of that because I stayed away from them. But I just noticed all of a sudden that Fifth Ward was empty. It wasn't cars and wasn't people walking up and down the street. So I just started walking and didn't see anybody. I got to Waco and Lowndes Avenue. And at that particular time was a lady and her husband and her 3 little children stopped at the red light, and they looked over there and see me on the sidewalk, and they say, "Baby, where is you going? Where you going, baby?" And I said, I don't have no place to go. I don't know where I'm going. So the lady said, "Get in this car right now." And I got in the car, and she took me to a church that was like a shelter. Remember, everybody was laying down, and everybody, you know, was propped up against the wall and things like that. Now, from that moment on, I never seen the lady. Once I walked into the church, I never seen the family. I never seen those peoples anymore. So I stayed there at that church. Now, people got to talking about a hurricane, and they named the Hurricane Carla. But me, myself, and I didn't even know it was a hurricane. I didn't know nothing. So I was blessed, whoever that family is. If they still alive, I just thank them from the bottom of my heart that they saved my life. And I didn't know to go shelter down. I didn't know anything. I just feel like some of the things they teach in school that they should not teach, and they need to teach the most important thing. They help a person survive. I really do. Because I went to school, and I graduated the third out of a class of 404 people. So I was the top 5% of my class in graduation. But the things that they taught me, I really didn't really use, except reading, writing, and arithmetic. but the algebra and all the other biology, I could just go on with the classes they taught that after I graduated from high school, went to college, I never did use that. I never did ever use that. Most of the classes they taught me. So I'm just saying they need to teach basic information that may save a person's life. Like teach them about how to go to a doctor, how to do banking, how to buy a house, how to understand about climate. They need to teach those kind of classes. So at least we'll have a chance. As we live in this world today, we do not have a chance. We have so many disasters, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And the peoples in the communities don't know nothing about climate change, climate justice. They don't know anything about climate, period. But I guess of the system in the world, or system in this country, they're like, once you're born, you're supposed to instantly know everything under the sun. But I'm sorry, people, we just don't know. We just don't know. So I think it's your responsibility to educate the masses. I think it's your responsibility. Don't fault us, but take on your responsibility.
Absolutely agree with that. What you were talking about the experiences that communities have with understanding climate change. What do you feel gets left out when talking about the experiences women go through in climate disasters?
Oh, well, women go through the bunk of everything, believe it or not. I mean, we looked as providers, for family and men. And most of the time when it comes to business, it's never discussed with us. We supposed to be the mother of the earth. We, birth the children into the world. And look like that's just our basic roles in life. The men's are inclusive, about the things that they feel like is the best for the whole world or for their communities, But they never really want to invite us to be a part of it. So therefore, we in limbo, complete limbo. If it wasn't for our children, I don't know what women would do. So we never invited to the table to discuss anything. So that's how I feel. You need to educate yourself so you can educate the women of your community. Because we are tired of being left out. We are.
Absolutely. So one thing I'm always impressed is just how much reach you have in the Fifth Ward, how many people you're able to bring in to come into the office hours to get services. And I wanted to ask you about that. Could you describe your role in building a network in the Fifth Ward that emphasizes environmental justice and connects community members to CEER services?
Well, believe it or not, it's very, very easy. For me, is because I think it have a lot to do with how I was raised. I was raised with compassion, love, and understanding. And didn't matter how much money somebody had or how much money somebody did not have. So I always start my conversation off is, hello, how you doing? That's the first thing I'm going to ask. How are you doing? Because a lot of people, you don't know how they doing. And I guarantee if you ask that question, how you doing? They're going to say, all right. Oh, I'm sick. I'm not feeling well. First, you have to talk about that person. You have to talk about that person first and find out, are they willing and able to even have a conversation with you? So a lot of them say, well, call me, what, you want? What is this you calling me about? And then that's when I'm able to open up. And I talk to them. I call them my sister. I call them my brother. Because that's how I really look at them, as a part of me. We just separated because we have different bodies, but we got the same mind. And that belongs to God. And so it's something like a spiritual thing that I be doing really with the people that I call, I want to know about them first. I want to know about the kids second. I want to find out, do they participate in meetings or do they a stay home person, I want to know about, are they ready to talk about my services that I'm calling them to ask them about? And some will tell me, oh, yes, Miss McGruder. And plus, I'm going to tell my sister, my brother, my uncle, and everybody else. But some may say, no, I just don't want to talk about that now. Can you call back later? I'm not interested. I don't take that, as an insult to me. I just take it as, that's one less person that I have to help. So that's how I build my network. By me being kind to one person, they open up the doors to all their relatives and their friends and the church members and everything. And I think the sincereness that they hear in my voice, I'm very sincere when I talk, And I think that carry over in the conversation over the phone, Now I ask them, do you need any more services? Oh, yes, Miss McGruder. I don't need more, but my daughter may need some. Can she call you? Of course. I'm going to answer the phone. I don't let no phone call be unanswered. Maybe I don't answer it right then, but before that week, I'm going to get back to that phone and I'm going to answer it. And I'm going to call them people and ask them, was you calling for Miss McGruder? And some will say, oh, yeah. Some say, oh, I got the wrong number. But still, I make sure I return my calls. Mm-hmm. Yes.
What role do you see women like yourself playing in addressing climate change?
Oh, I think, really, I'm the mother of Fifth Ward. I look at Fifth Ward as my sixth child. I really have done that ever since I was a young woman. And I think that I'm the mother of Fifth Ward now. Some people call me the mother of Fifth Ward. So I feel like I'm responsible. I feel like I'm responsible for others, Regardless if they're 100 years old or they just 1 day old, I feel responsible, God has blessed me. I have a home, I have a car. I have all the clothes in the world I ever wanted, and I have a little money in the bank. And so that's all I need. I don't need what other people strive to get. Listen here, why would I want God's money? That is God's money. Let me tell you what God told me. He told me that's my money and I give it to whoever I want to. Now, if I give you a little, you should be satisfied with. If I give you a lot, you should be over thrilled. But that's my money. I give it to who I want. Once I stop thinking about money, the floodgates open up. And God gave me everything that I needed. I didn't have to pay for my house. I got a brand new home. It didn't cost me 1 red cent. I got a nice, beautiful car. When I got it, it only had 46 miles on it. And I didn't have to pay nothing but $11,000 for it. I never tried to, live above my means. The dresses I wear, $5.99. The shoes I put on my feet, $7.99. I'm not looking for no glory from others. I'm looking to give the glory to God. I have to talk about Him. I have to. Because I will not be a child of God if I don't mention His name. Now, all this, what most people is going through, they go through it because that's what they want to go through. Believe it or not. Because in reality, God don't need no help from anybody. He do everything during His time. He does everything when He wants to. So regardless if you know it or not, you be just wasting your time. Have you ever found yourself going around in a circle and you keep going around and around and around? What's going on here? Well, that's because you didn't include God in that circle, because He can break that circle. He can change your life. And you don't have to get old to have your life changed. You can be a young person and God will change your life. So really, all my life, since the beginning, God been with me. He has. Even though when I didn't even realize what was happening, God was with me. And so that's what you have to do. Give up your whole life. I'm going to tell you. I gave up my whole life. The sex, the men, the money, the food, the enjoyment. I thought I was being happy, enjoying my life. I really did. But as I got older, it was the same old thing. With the men's, guess what? It was men's with just different faces. Our men's is mostly all alike. And that's all that I seen once I got old enough to realize what was really going on. And you have to yoke yourself with like-minded people. If somebody is going left and keep trying to pull you left, instead of saying, really, what do you want to go? You want to go left, you want to go right, or you just want to stand still? Now that kind of man is a great man. But when a man is just pulling you to the left or a woman pulling you to the right and don't, respect you to find out what she wants to do, then really you just wasting your time. That person's never going to change. You can't change a person. So maybe, the women need to get out their head about changing men, and the men need to get out their head about changing a woman. Either you love the person or you don't. I found that out as a woman, as an older woman, because I'm almost 80 years old. And so I have lived a long life. Yes.
Were there any influential female figures in your life that inspire you to lead?
Teachers.
Oh, okay.
It was my teachers. Had wonderful teachers from elementary school all the way to high school. They inspired me. They was my saviors. They used to even bring me to their home. And I didn't even know their daughters, because a lot of teachers, they have children, but they do not let their children go to the same school that they teach in. So I knew the teacher, but I didn't know about the children that the teachers had. So a lot of them would bring me to the house and stay with their daughters, or, visit them, and I mean, they the greatest of all, I just don't understand why we don't invest more in our teachers. Like with the volunteers in public school, why can't you give people stipends so they can go in there and help the teachers? And this will always be going on. The killing of our children in school because the parents feel like, oh, the teachers got them. No, the teachers don't have your children. They have their own children, but not yours. So it's time for us to start having innovative ideas, very, very innovative ideas, not the same old stuff that you add on and then you take away, and it's still the same old problem. We haven't got nowhere. We're almost still like cavemen and cavewomen. And that's how we be acting, like something like that. So, no, it was the teachers. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had teachers in my life.
What makes a great leader in your opinion?
The great leader that I think would make, in the opinion of me, would be letting other people help you. Mm-hmm. That's what I think make a great leader. That you able to sit back and you able to tell the peoples around you who can do the best job to put them in that position and let them do it. And listen to whatever they have to come back and tell you. You can't be a leader when you can't even lead yourself. And most leaders that I see these days and time, they can't even lead themselves. Everybody around them leading, but they themselves just sit and do nothing.
All right, Ms. McGruder, this is my final question for you. I really love this interview. What lesson or message would you like audiences to take away from listening to your story?
That it's possible to change for the better. That we are not just stuck in a specific area, a specific time period, or a specific idea that we might have. that we can make change. And the thing that you really need to know, you have to do change first yourself. Once you change yourself, then everything else will change around you.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. McGruder. Is there anything else you want to say to the camera before we wrap up?
Yes, I just wanted to say the great organization that I work for, CEER, it changed my life as well. It gave me an opportunity to have a platform that I could go out into the world if they want me to do that, but into my communities and teach other people about the idea about something that they never even thought about knowing about. So it's just a pleasure to help people through CEER. And I just hope that people realize, please give CEER the credit and not others, because they're the one out here working night and day trying to help everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.